Guys, the United States men's national team have pulled off a third victory in the row.
Three-peat.
Three-peat, Versailles treat. The first time either Mexico or the U.S. has beaten each other for 3 times in a row since 1937. 1937. All those years of the rivalry, and the U.S. has won 3 in a row. And not only did they win tonight, they won 2-0. And guys, joining me today, we'll get to them in a second. I have Rufo and Adam, USMNT Stan. And guys, as always, let's kick it off right now. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. It's State of Soccer. I'm Brian McDonough, and today, joining me, we have USMT Stan and Rufo. Adam, how's it going, man?
Yeah, just a regular night. Screaming at the top of my lungs in my house. But man, 2-0, man. You can't, it just doesn't get any better than that. It's like I thought we might have been done with those, in 2014, and we were able to revisit it tonight. I was actively rooting against Ferreira to miss a shot. No, I was like, I actually don't want you to score. I just want 2-0.
And that's what we got. We got 2-0. There it is. Rufo, I know you're kind of conflicted. Tell your story, who you are, where you're from, and what you thought tonight, because I could feel a lot of emotion coming out of you.
Oh my Jesus Christ!
And you can tell he's wearing an El Tree jersey right now too.
Son of a God damn it! Okay, boys. I'm gonna give you my fair play. I know for me, as much as I grew from a Mexican household, I had the whole back emotion earlier. Like I said, I told you already. Recently lost my father this year, but. Yeah, I know he told me one time Mexico is kind of falling a little bit, but to see how they are, it just wasn't their night tonight, And with Raul Jimenez especially trying to revamp the way he was, the career that he's been having, just wasn't the threat that he once was tonight. And unfortunately, Mexico got outplayed in the second half, but you got to give it to the USMNT, they've done a very good job, and Triple G did the shit that he needed to do. And to see Pulisic score again, for me, to see that feeling again, it amazes me because I remember hearing about this dude back in the Champions League when he was playing for Borussia Dortmund in 2016-17 with the likes of Usman and Marco Reus, and to see him grow to be the footballer that he is now, it's very amusing, and it's a great story to tell. I know he may be injured to begin with of the season, but he is a baller indeed. And guys, do not sleep on Pulisic, bro, because he may be injured, but he may be the guy that maybe go. I think we might have a caller coming in soon, so I'll be finishing.
We have guys, and Rufo made a good point. We have the live caller open. Make sure to give me a call. Phone is right here, attached to the mic. 267-915-2932. And Rufo, to your point, any doubters of the USMNT, any doubters of Christian Pulisic, I think tonight are at least silent, going to bed with their tail between their legs, because tonight he showed him what he's capable of. Came on the pitch for Brendan Aronson, who was scrappy tonight, didn't have his best game, but came on when the USMNT needed him most. Spark plug off the bench, way up, of course, with that assist. And then later on, we saw McKennie score a goal. Adam, I want to hear your thoughts on just a general performance of the USMNT tonight. What you thought?
Yeah, total flip in the second half. I was so excited. First half, I was like, gosh, same thing again. Even though we won twice in the summer, I never felt like we outplayed Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, and when I say outplay, outplay in live play. And even going back to 2014, 2010, those 2-0 wins, we still really never outplayed them fully. And I think in the second half, the evolution you saw tonight is we outplayed them. From the jump in the second half, we controlled the game. First 5 minutes, we created 3-4 really dangerous opportunities, and we really just never let up. And I think the biggest it wasn't a tactical switch. It was Mexico is a little bit older, right? First half, their press was really effective, and a lot of their most dangerous opportunities came off their press and turning us over. And they kind of ran out of steam. They just weren't able to press us in the same way, and we, in the same with the same speed, and we were able to kind of play through them much more effectively. And honestly, the press just wasn't there a lot of the second half.
And that's what you have with a young team. We had Brad, I believe, called in. We had a couple callers in the first part. We did the pregame show, and the question was essentially, veteran team versus a young team, what would you see? And it was a cliche answer. Second half, USA can break down that veteran midfield, especially, and that defense that's kind of in shambles for Mexico. And we saw exactly that. Just the quick play, always on the front foot. I mean, I thought Musa was incredible tonight. I really thought he had an amazing match, controlling the ball in the midfield, showing his strength, holding off defenders. Way was constantly extremely elusive on attack, played really well. Weston McKennie did what he had to do, scored a goal, of course, but also kind of held down the midfield. Tyler Adams played very well overall. I mean, I saw him get thrown to the ground multiple times, but he was the captain tonight. It's what we need. Walker Zimmerman played very well. Very impressed with Walker Zimmerman tonight. Want to hear your guys' thoughts on the USMNT back line tonight, because I thought they did a very good job, especially in that second half.
Oh Lord. Okay. Anyways, you want to start, Adam, or you want me to go?
Yes, sure. I mean, I think Miles did a really nice job in a couple key one-on-ones. I don't know if you guys remember in the first half, he got isolated against Ticatito, took the ball away from him.
Yes.
I thought both of them did a really good job of just pinching the space a lot of times on Raul and making him feel two bodies. And Zimmerman, in a ton of 1v1 aerial duels, Zimmerman just outdueled him, right? Didn't let him get the ball on it. And not even necessarily like where he was going to score a goal on the header. But the most dangerous thing sometimes strikers can do is just get their head on it and kind of play on to somebody, right? And like, I thought Zimmerman was totally dominant in the air, and that's why you play him, right? That's why Greg played him, because he's a dominant aerial presence in both boxes. And I think tonight that really played out. And then honestly, I thought A-Rob grew into the game. I thought his passing was really rough in the first half. He gave the ball away in some really just like unnecessary spots where he wasn't even under pressure. But I thought in the second half he was tremendous, and I think like all of our guys, like the energy for 90 minutes of these guys is just overwhelming. Unless you've got, your own set of 20-year-olds to throw at us, which nobody does.
It's once again, the starting 11 tonight for the U.S. is probably under the age of 24, I'm assuming, because that's really what we kind of been throwing out there, which is right now could be the youngest starting 11 in all of world football. And not only are these guys young, you've heard it a million times, but they're at top clubs. And the players that are even playing stateside for the U.S. are the best players. Walker Zimmerman's been doing this day in, day out when he was back with LAFC, with Nashville now. I mean, he is their captain. He is their guy. Ultimately, LAFC, we saw his capabilities. Robinson just scored his first goal for Atlanta United recently, but he's playing really well for Atlanta. Outside of that, of course, the U.S. just came ready to play today. This is textbook combination of new era and old era, I think, Adam. I think that the U.S. came ready to play. You had that scrappy old USMNT team, from the Bob Bradley, Bruce Arena years, with a new era team that has a little bit more technical skill and tactics also implemented to a T. So it's interesting to see that.
Yeah, I think, just talking about the back line a little bit more, I think two things. You could actually audibly hear it at times during dead balls where Mexico was setting up set pieces or corners. Zimmerman was like screaming instructions, right? Now, there was one specific one where it was one of those kind of deep set pieces that wasn't a corner, but it was kind of deep. And you could actually hear Stefan screaming at Aronson to slide over and directing another guy to slide. And I think that's why you bring Stefan in, and that's why you bring Zimmerman in. Those are the reasons, right? Is Zimmerman as talented as Richards? I don't think so, right? I believe Richards is maybe the most talented center back we have, but Zimmerman has more control of the box right now, right? And Stefan has more control of the box right now, in my opinion, than Turner. That's Stefan's thing, is leadership and voice and command of the box. And that played out. I thought we had great command of the box after the first 40 minutes.
And that's the thing. Command of the box, and also just shutting down any aerial attack. Mexico had zero aerial attack in that match. I was a little bit nervous when Rogelio Funes Mori came in. I got to be honest, because I have great respect for him, what he's doing at Monterrey, what he's done in his career. But at that point in time, it was kind of the spark was taken out of Mexico's attack. We saw some moments of brilliance from Lozano early on. Tecatito Corona duffed that ball, of course, in the first half, which would have completely changed the complexion of the game. But after that, Mexico essentially was nowhere to be seen. Rufo, are you a little bit disappointed in the front three for Mexico tonight? I mean, your best players kind of coming up short.
Yeah, indeed. And I mean, I can't really blame Raul Jimenez. Like I said, at the beginning of the post-match, he just hasn't been the same guy that he has been like from 2019. And, near the beginning of the Premier League season when he was playing for Wolves or club football. And it sucks because it's just like he's a threat basically. He's one of those players that you would want to have in the box to head the ball and to at least go on for goal no matter what the case may be. He has skill and he's very agile, though for the size that he is, he can very much be that finisher. And Lozano, I mean, there was some opportunities that he had made. I know Tecatito doesn't really have the finishing capabilities that he would actually have because he's more of a on the ball dribbler type of guy that can run it down the wing. But for me, I just was a little bit disappointing with the fact that Tecatito just couldn't finish that ball. If he were to finish it like and place it a little bit better, then it could have been at least a 1-0 before halftime and stuff. But I guess it just wasn't meant to be there because he wasted a ball that Lozano did bring in. So
the game sometimes comes down to like whose best players take advantage of their opportunities, right?
Yeah.
And like tonight, McKennie and Pooley took advantage of their opportunities, and both Chucky had a massive opportunity, essentially a 1v1 with the keeper. Stefan did come up with a good save. It wasn't the best play shot though, also. Yeah, and then we had kind of the duff shot that Tecatito did. So it's just that's soccer, man. Like you missed a couple opportunities and you can't get them back because you just don't get that many chances.
We talked about that before the game, Adam, actually, that it was tonight's match in particular is going to be a game of opportunities, which you say in every single match. But we knew how close this game was down to the wire. You couldn't really differentiate the teams in the first half. It was sloppy play, you could argue, by both teams. Coming into the second half, the way the game evolved, it was an upward trend for the U.S. until the point, where they obviously broke the deadlock with the goal from Pulisic. At that point, the air was out of the balloon, and you kind of see Mexico deflate. What do you think about the aggression on the field from Mexico? At one point, I was saying to Rufo, if I'm Berhalter, Pulisic scores here, he's on the field. We had a 2-0 lead, and I was worried that Pulisic was going to get injured. I thought that players were going to start to go after him. I was actually calling for him to sub him off at that point in time.
I thought the exact same thing. I was like, I hate this. After the Herrera, right before the Herrera foul, he was kind of dancing. I was like, don't do that. Because I knew exactly what Herrera was going to do. He went right after his legs, super dirty play. Yep. And then for the rest of the game, I was kind of like crossing my fingers. I was like, please don't dance on the ball. Just give it up. And even then I was worried they were going to go get him because, in all honesty, like this rivalry, it's not just a Mexican thing. Like this rivalry gets chippy and it gets dirty, right? And like it goes both ways for sure, right? I'm sure us as USMNT go, man, Mexico's dirty. And Mexican, fans go, man, USMNT is dirty. It's just that kind of rivalry. And so I agree with you, man. I was a little bit worried about Pooley out there at the end. And I was honestly worried about the one I was like crossing my fingers on was Adams, because after McKennie got the yellow, now we know McKennie's out for Jamaica. I was like, we can't also be missing Adams. So Tyler, chill.
And Miles Robinson's out versus Jamaica too.
I know.
So I mean, we're going to see Chris Richards. We're going to see Chris Richards and Walker Zimmerman duo. Yeah, and we could see Busio. You're right, which is exciting, honestly.
Yeah.
Now, Rufo, I want to ask you because Adam was kind of saying how it's back and forth, chippy. But one thing you were saying where you were kind of shaking your head at a lot of Mexico's aggression, some of the cheap shots. What do you think of Mexico on that end? Like tonight, do you think that they were kind of in the wrong more than the U.S.? I'm curious from a Mexico perspective.
So, shit. Dang, you cut out there. Say that one more time. Otra vez. So, like you said,
so I'm saying as far as the aggression shown by Mexico, obviously they were down 2-0. You were getting frustrated by some of the players. They're taking some cheap shots. Did you think some of it was uncalled for? Like, I just wanted to see what your thoughts were on kind of like the chippiness of the game.
Yeah, like especially, and I bet my dad would have said the same thing, and he's told me too. There have been times where Eltree, they've been known for this for over many, many years. Like I've seen it, and I've looked back at footage back then, like whether it was the game versus the Netherlands where we almost went through, or the time where I think it was the Gold Cup in 2017 where we made the final. Oh, no, we didn't even make the final. It was actually the semifinal versus Jamaica. And the thing, though, and I realized it's like they go for fouls in areas that are actually more dangerous than expected, or try to win the ball back by trying to at least flop a little bit, which honestly, I know as Adam said, it's football. There's nothing that you can really say about it. Whatever play is
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
it's there. But I guess Mexico try to at least be like, we're trying to get the advantage. We're trying to see if we can resave our energy again. But that's not how it's supposed to be played. Like that's just ratty football if you think about it.
Yeah, and I thought, you don't know what the players are saying on the field too. You don't hear. I mean, there was a lot of yellows pulled against the U.S., vice versa with El Tree, physically aggressive players towards the U.S. But at the same time, you don't know what the U.S. could be provoking them. We're not on the field, we don't hear it. But let's open up the call lines. We have 267-915-2932. We're on live on Twitter right now. We're live on YouTube. So any listeners, feel free to call in. I have a couple comments rolling in from Miguel Benitez Jr. saying that Walker Zimmerman gets a lot of hate from USMNT fans, but I thought he played really, really well. I agree, Miguel. I think that's exactly right. He's fired up. Tamale Killer stating great win. I thought that was an awesome win. I got to ask you, Adam, Gold Cup victory, Nations League victory, tonight's World Cup victory over Mexico, all varying degrees of importance. You could argue this is the most important of the three, in my opinion. This is the best showcase we've seen of the U.S., I think, with this crop of players against Mexico, against anyone. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I remember there was some kind of poll that was going around before the Nations League. And the poll was essentially like, would you trade? You want 2 trophies, or do you want the World Cup qualifying win in November? And I remember being like, you guys are insane. And a lot of people were picking the 2 trophies.
Yeah.
I'll take that loss for the 2 trophies. And I was like, you guys are crazy. World Cup qualifying for me, I know there's no trophy attached. But the games against Mexico in World Cup qualifying and winning World Cup qualifying, right, first, to me, that's the Super Bowl in this region. I get that, the Gold Cup, right, is kind of like our regional tourney, and now the Nations League was kind of brought in. But this is it. To me, this is the Super Bowl, right, winning this game, and then even more importantly, going down to the Azteca and winning, which I don't think we've ever done. That's going to be the one, right, that now, I've already got my eyes kind of on that one. But yeah, I'm with you, Brian, man. This was massive. Hey, I have a question for you, actually. I'm interested for your take.
Yeah, of course.
And Rafael, your take as well. What do you guys feel like changed in the second half? What are either tactically or just, player-wise, what did you guys, see changing in the second half to the first? Because for me, it was a totally different half. Totally, first half, I felt like Mexico really owned it. In the second half, I feel like the U.S. owned it. What did you guys see happen?
I think that the wide play you kind of saw Yedlin started coming up more out wide, and also I thought that Weah and Aronson in particular, Weah started drifting out, creating more space, and I think that there were diagonal runs in the box. I mean, you saw that with Weah's header. I think at the beginning of the match, it was very much compiled in the midfield. It almost kind of reminded me of it was a first half rivalry game. That's what you get. You just get tons of collision. You get tons of scrap. But I think the second half, the U.S. came out, and I think they saw that the midfield of Mexico was tired, obviously, and they started taking advantage of that, and they really they spread that back four, and they took advantage of it. So I thought they kind of started playing a little bit wide. I don't know if you agree with that, Adam.
Yeah, I totally agree. What'd you see from the El Tree side?
For me, so seeing from it, from the first half, I know Mexico dominated, which of course was pretty good. And at the beginning, they did tire out by the time the half started. And I believe Tata actually decided to go with the same tactic, put along more pressure on the USMNT, win the ball back as much as we can, so that way we can create a chance as possible. But that wasn't meant to be. And the way I saw Greg Berhalter, and coming off what Brian said, U.S. started to drift more wide, and I believe that was why they had more success on the ball, and especially on the flanks when you had the likes of Aronson or Weah and even the fullbacks in Anthony Robinson and DeAndre Yedlin. And then by the time Pulisic came in, who actually scored that first goal with a header, there was just a lot of space down the flank that Mexico just did not cover. I feel like Jesus Gallardo just didn't do his job there. And
yeah.
That's just that's just a blow in the tail right there. One shot, and then the whole ship just gets blown down.
I think the biggest thing I saw was in the first half. What was really bothering me is we actually created a bunch of turnovers in the first half off the press. I did like a video on the pressure that we created in the Nations League game, and I was like, hey, let's replicate that. And I actually thought we did. Like I was watching for it, and I was like, okay, and we turned them over. But I thought in the transition play that happened after the turnovers, no matter where they were, I thought we couldn't string more than like 2 or 3 passes together. And to use a baseball analogy, I thought we were going for home runs, right?
Yeah.
Versus just like stringing some singles together, right? To like
playing small ball.
Exactly. Playing small ball. And I think and Mexico impacted us, right? Mexico's counter pressing impacted that, right? They were coming after us hard after those turnovers and putting pressure on. And I thought that was working really well and kind of like suffocating our counters and our transition play. And I think a couple things happened in the second half. I think one, our midfielders specifically got more poised on the ball and stopped turning it over as much in bad spots. I think secondly, your pressure, El Tri pressure weakened, right? And then I think the third thing is we just kind of stopped going for as many of those home runs. We were like, okay, taking 5 passes to get it to Weah's feet so then he could create.
Yeah. Not only did we stop going for those home runs, we were controlling possession more. And that's the thing. I mean, you saw, I thought that Musa set the tone in the second half. And you saw some of those runs by him. You saw some of the runs by Robinson late in the second half too, up the left side, taking advantage and creating some opportunities. He was a ghost in the first half. He's played actually relatively poor. But that second half, he came in, played really well. I loved how, despite Aronson, I think, struggling, and I thought the U.S. was very poor off set pieces, despite his struggles. His motor obviously kept him going, and I just love the hustle he has on the field. But he kind of really paved the way for Pulisic to come in. It was an easy substitution, easy decision for Berhalter to make at that point.
Yeah, I mean the press, the transition game, we were on them all game, and then you send. I think I tweeted this out like first half. I was like, if we can get to the 60-minute mark 0-0 and bring Pulisic on, I feel great. Right. It was almost like it was kind of like some premonition there. It wasn't like, it's not like that's a hard thing to feel great about. Right. But like, that was it. I was just like praying. I was like, just get us to 0-0, get CP in the game. Because like, we talked about it before the game, Brian, it's the ultimate X factor, right? Maybe the best player in the region, definitely top 2-3 player in the region, coming on as a super sub. That's tough.
And I got to say, Roof, I have a generic question for you because it's you're looking at three losses now to the U.S. Also, the U.S. did this without Reina and Dest. Not to take away about the current crop of players they have, because I thought Yedlin played a very good game. You slot Reina in there. You create some more troubles for Mexico's defense. You're El Tri, and your thoughts are 3 losses in a row. What has to change in this next matchup against the U.S. at home at Estadio Azteca? And are you worried that finally now the U.S. is truly the king of CONCACAF? Just generic question here for our Twitter followers.
That's a great take there, especially I would say so, as much as it very much concerns me. Now, I'm not going to say Tata out already. That's not going to be the thing, though. But, I think the one thing that Tata needs to change is he cannot rely on the same tactics, especially what he used in the first half. Like, yes, you can pressure on the ball every time as much as you can, but that's only going to just waste the amount of energy that the players are going to have. Like, shit, like, look at what happened to the back line and the fullbacks. Like, couldn't even keep up to some of the players from the USMNT, especially on the wings. And in the midfield, I know, of course, they tried to control the ball, of course, from Edson Alvarez, for example. He would control the ball very well, but then there are times in the second half he did have a bit of a heavy touch, which did concern me at some point. And I'm just like, why in hell have a heavy touch when you can just take your time, stay calm with it, and stay relaxed? And it's like I said at the beginning of the in the watch along and call, I said USMNT did have the advantage at the midfield because they're a lot more calmer and they just had the tempo right in. And at the second half, I called it there when I said that the tempo will make it be for the USMNT, and I think that's what Mexico struggled upon. There was no tempo in the midfield.
Crazy to me, considering the veteran midfield they had out there today, and especially Edson Alvarez was essentially really nowhere to be seen. I don't know, Adam, what you thought of his play today, but he didn't really impress me that much.
Yeah, I mean,
the only thing. Go ahead.
He had some. I was just gonna say he had some good defensive moments.
Yeah, defensively.
Yeah, defensively, he was frustrating me because he kept breaking stuff up and making key tackles and just kind of doing what he does. But I agree with you. What's your name again? Rufo?
Rufo. You can call me Arnulfo, whichever one.
Rufo, my guy. I agree with you. I think like some of the stuff he did on ball was a little sloppy, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, he's such a beast though, man. Like every time I watch him, I'm not like
He's very much good.
scared of him, but I'm like just scared of a defensive center midfield because they're not typically the guys that score, but like
yeah,
he just makes life tough, man. He made life tough a lot of that game by just being a presence. Two guys real quick. I just want to make sure and highlight because I think it's really important.
sure.
Go ahead.
I think Pulisic and McKinney and Way are going to get a lot of love right now post game because they,
Indeed.
you know, were kind of the goal involvements, etc. I think Adams was unbelievable tonight, right? I don't
agree.
know how much
Good
credit
call.
he get. He does. He's just like that guy. He's that glue guy. That's what a defensive center midfielder is. If you're not really watching closely, you miss a lot of what they do. He was phenomenal in distribution. I thought he totally commanded the top, like the front of our box, in front of our center backs. And he was just great. And the other thing I think we can't lose sight of is Zach Steffen. I mean, we question, you know, everybody questioned it, right? Ooh, is that the move, right? And some people are yes, some people are no. I said I was kind of like split. I probably would have started Turner, honestly, if I was the head coach, given what I know. But you got to give Berhalter a ton of credit for knowing his dudes, knowing who was going to come up big in the spot. And, you know, whether you wanted Turner or didn't, right? Steffen came up with massive saves, controlled the box all night like we talked about, and was huge. And those are two things that I think will get lost a little bit in the next 24 hours because of some of, obviously, the really fun, you know, goal-involved plays that happen at the end.
I totally agree. I think the man of the match is Greg Berhalter. I just do. I agree. I think the 11 he put out there, tactically, I think he wore down Mexico in that first half. I don't know if that was his intention, but this, you know, I think in the second half they had a really good game plan and it was implemented perfectly. A lot of it has to do with, you're right, the number 6 there, Tyler Adams, holding it down in the midfield defensively, had a lot of stops, broke up a lot of play progressions. Really, especially in the second half, Lozano couldn't really penetrate in. You know, I thought that Yedlin did a great job there defensively. I thought that overall the back four stayed really compact in the second half.
You know, Brian, real quick, the other thing they did, I don't want to lose this, against Chucky in the second half that I thought was really smart. I think this was a tactical adjustment. I didn't catch it in the first half. Is they really pinched Musa back to kind of take away Chucky's ability to cut in on his right foot, right? And very often when Chucky kind of got into that, you know, that left-hand winger space that he's so good in, we sent two to him. And I think I talked about how teams do that to Pooley all the time. And it was really fun to see us tactically do that in the second half and really like just suffocate him in a way that he was not really effective. He didn't really have any effectiveness or goal scoring opportunities in the second half. Yeah. And I think I give hats off to Berhalter because I think that was a tactical adjustment.
I think it was too. And I have a comment here, a tactic comment from Jeremy Wan. Looked like the U.S. press is mostly focused on playing passing lanes and making Ochoa and CB's play long. Thoughts on Berhalter pressing tactics and execution during Mexico's build-up? I'll leave that to you, Adam, especially the second question. I'm kind of curious.
I caught that same thing. I thought the pressing was really interesting. I was really interested to watch. We were very like gung-ho, up in your face, right? I'm a former basketball coach. So like, you know, there's a, 1-2-1-1 press is like in your face, 94 feet, trapping everywhere. And I thought for the first 10 minutes, that's what we were like. And I think through the first half, we kind of took that high press on and off. And then in the second half, I totally agree with that comment. That's exactly what we were doing, right? It was not really like all the way up to the goalkeeper. It was kind of like taking away passing lanes, making you play long, and then relying on Zimmerman and McKinney, right, and our guys on the back line to win balls and us to win second balls. And that was huge. Like winning second balls was huge in the second half, right? I don't know the stat, but it felt like we won 80% of the second balls.
Yeah, it really does. And guys, not to cut you off, but this is a call-in show, guys. Feel free to call in. I'm live on Twitter. I'm live on YouTube right now. This is State of Soccer. I'm Brian McDonough. Joining me, I have USMNT Stan. I have Arnulfo Martinez, Arufo. 267-915-2932. 267-915-2932. The call lanes are open, guys. So give us a call if you want to chat USMNT. We'll keep the show going for another 15 minutes or so. We'll probably end at the top of the hour right at 12 midnight, if you guys don't mind. So 15 more minutes, guys. I want to hear from you, the USMNT fans, the faithful. What are your thoughts on today? Let's get some, even some Mexican fans. Let's get some commentary going.
Oh, Lordy. Yeah, honestly, after today, that's a bit rough. That's why I changed hats today. Actually, not
You're-
throw it. I don't need a hat tonight. Shoot, man.
yeah, I
Hey,
know
here's
you're
something else I just wanted to kind of,
sure.
I think these will get lost too. I thought, because I think once again, we're going to focus on the goals, but like before that, we created this awesome chance for Pepe. It kind of fell to him, but it was just like we were on the front foot. We were putting balls into the box. And when you do that, balls fall to people. We had that one ball that fell to Pepe. And then Weah actually had another ball that went right to Aronson's feet. And both guys kind of like botched the touch and the finish. And then we also had Weah also had that cutback pass to McKinney. I don't know if you remember that one.
I do remember that one. Yeah.
Right. And so, like, we were, just to kind of highlight it, we were creating chance after chance after chance. And, it felt like a goal was coming. In the first half, it felt like a goal was coming from Mexico. And I think for us, it felt like it was coming in the second. And, I wanted to see Pepe put that one away, right? For the reasons that we said before. Like, and Rufo, I'd love your thoughts on Pepe and the, dual nat. Like, seems like you're a dual nat yourself, right? In that way. And I'd love your thoughts on just, Pepe, situation, et cetera.
Yeah, like being a dual national, indeed, like to see Ricardo play. Like I even told it to Brian a while back, especially I believe on the State of Soccer live show. But I don't mind, the dual nationals, whoever was born in America and has given as much credit to the people that they have had support from. Like, for example, for me, I've gotten so much from my family and my dad, who did originate from Mexico and came over here. And this year he was supposed to get papers, of course, actually try to fly over and get his residency from Florida, but shit happens. But with that being said, I mean, Pepe, when he declared for the United States national team, I mean, I was a bit like, well, it's his decision, I'm not his his freaking agent or anything like that to decide for him, because it's his stuff, Like the same went for Julian Araujo. I know he had the opportunity to play for the USMNT, but he also had the opportunity to play for El Tri. Same could be said for Efrain Alvarez and a couple of other people, which I'm not saying, every person who is dual citizen will accept the fact that they have to play for the USMNT or they have to play for El Tri. It's their decision to actually figure out. Like when I heard and saw the script that Ricardo.
We got a live caller. Sorry.
Here we
go, baby. Here we go. Exciting. All right, this is State of Soccer. Who do we have?
Yeah, met the Rockstar.
Ooh, what's going on, Rockstar? What's up, man?
Nothing much, man. But first of all, I really like your show.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Work. Secondly, you guys, everybody's sort of missing the obvious in this team. Like, Mexico's just an old team. If you look at the entire midfield, they're like 30 or above, and the only guy who played well on the offensive side of the ball for Mexico is Tecatito, and even his game was limited.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And generally speaking, Tecatito, even when he's not playing for his team right now, FC Porto, he always plays up. When he's playing against the United States.
Yeah.
The fact is, Tata Martinez, for whatever reason, likes to stick with old dudes. And Raul Jimenez, I'm a huge fan of Raul Jimenez. I really like the dude, man. I'm really happy to see him back and play. Especially after, you guys know the injury that he went through.
Yeah.
The fact is, he's not the old Raul Jimenez. You can see him physically. He's just withered. He's got skinnier, he's got slower. If you look at the way that he's been playing with Everton, he's not the same guy that he was before. You know what I mean? So this is kind of like, Costa Rica, last couple of years. They had that great run in the World Cup a cycle ago, but everybody got old and they didn't replace anybody. And they're still sticking with the same dudes that got them to the quarter, the semis in the World Cup. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
And that kind of seems like what Mexicans are doing.
I hear you. I think it's time for Mexico to bring in some fresh blood. The question is who right now? You have Jimenez, who is back. I disagree with your comment a little bit about him being withered and older. I still think he does have a lot in the tank. I think he has abilities, and I think he's their best number 9.
Absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with you on that at all. What I'm saying is, okay, their number 2 is what? Morez, Funes. What is his name?
Funes Mori. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have a whole lot of options number 9, just like us. What I'm saying is Raul Jimenez took a huge step back from what he was 2-3 years ago before his injury.
Mhm.
And so everybody's talking about like, well, that front line of Mexico is going to be able to dominate or potentially play against really well against our back line. And I think our back line is probably the best back line in CONCACAF. We have a lot of guys who can bring in and out.
I think tonight they proved that they have the ability to be the best back line in CONCACAF, especially considering, in my opinion, Brooks should be a starter, right? But I was just so impressed with Zimmerman too. So you can't even really say that. So you're right. The depth is there. Chris Richards is, we even got guys like Matt Miazga who aren't called into camp. I don't really know how well he's playing in La Liga right now. But yeah,
starting.
There we go. So he's starting. So yeah, it's the depth is there. The back line is young, and I think people kind of panic, including myself. When you have a young back line, you just know how important that is defensively to make a run in the World Cup and in CONCACAF. But I appreciate the call in. I think Mexico. I saw Memo Ochoa stated Mexico is the mirror in which the United States wants to see itself. That's what he stated before this match.
I saw that too, and I was like, really, dude? Really? You're 35 years old. We have a much younger team than you. We have a bunch of guys playing in every freaking major league and every major team around the world. And it's really, we just beat you guys twice in a row in CONCACAF, Gold Cup, and the Nations League, and that's how you respond to it. You know what I mean? It didn't make any sense for him to do that.
Brian, did you see Pulisic's shirt?
That's what I'm saying. I'll share it right now. Yeah.
It's so sweet. Pulisic, man, like I love how up he is for these Mexico games, man.
Like good show, man. I follow you, so.
I know I appreciate it, man. I really do. I appreciate all the support and Med the Rockstar. Thanks for calling him, man. I appreciate it.
Between one day soon.
Thank you,
Brian. Between this shirt, the hush celebration in the Nations League, like. It just like gets me fired up to see how like up for Mexico this dude is, how much he cares about it. Like that is so sweet.
Look at that. Memo Ochoa. Mexico is the mirror in which the United States, after Christian Pulisic scored tonight, he's the man in the mirror.
Oh yes. Oh my God. That is a shithouser award. Give him every award out there. That is a shit. I'm about to walk out real quick, boys. Y'all might want to mute me real quick. What?
I'll tell you what, to write it on your shirt and then come out and score so you can show it on your shirt, that's big time.
That's big time. That's big time, especially coming off the bench, right? He knew he wasn't starting tonight. That's confidence. And he's Captain America. He's living up to it, right?
We came into this year, right, with big question marks, right? Like Pulisic, Adams, McKennie. Those guys, I think McKennie, we technically had that Gold Cup game in 2019, but they were very untested in the region, in the tough games of the region, in the Mexico rivalry. And it was like, what is this group going to be, right? They each kind of, Pulisic played in the 2017, McKennie played in the Gold Cup final. Like, we've done some things, but it was like, what are we going to do together? And it's just so cool to see these guys step up in the Nations League game. I got to kind of skip the Gold Cup game personally. That was a lot of our reserves, but for our core group of guys to see the performances they put on in the Nations League final and tonight, and just like the being up for the moment, right? Like, and that's what these games are about. You have to be up for the moment, ready for the moment, and like ready to take advantage of the moment.
And that's the thing it just makes all of this so worthwhile. Like, I love interacting with the USMNT fans. I love doing this channel. I love having guys like you on my show. But ultimately, the team has to win to keep the interest pumping, to keep the sport growing in this country. And wins like this, on ESPN, primetime against Mexico, this game's been marketed for months now. People are so excited to come up with a 2-0 win. That's what this federation needs to take a step forward. And I think that finally, the average daily fans, the fans that maybe in the past just tuned in for the World Cup, are starting to actually watch qualifiers, Adam and Rufo. Like, I think they're starting to actually step up and follow the team as they qualify. A lot of USMNT fans or, newer people might not even realize how tough CONCACAF is to qualify until the last World Cup, given that we didn't qualify. So now that we're back, there's more attention on these World Cup qualifiers, and you see these more fans coming out of the woodwork, and it's growing. And performances like tonight just keep pushing it to a different stratosphere. It's exciting to see. It really is.
Do you know what the other results were in region? I saw Panama came back and won. Did Canada end up winning?
Okay, let's check right now.
So I think, this win is so, yes, he won 1-0 for Canada. This win is huge because, like, Canada and Panama both win, right? And so even like a draw here puts us in a far worse spot. It puts us in third, and it puts us only 1 point clear of Panama. And so getting the 3 points here is just so massive. It gives us such a cushion to play with now that we wouldn't have had without these 3 points. I'm so pumped about that.
Yeah. Soccer Boy Media.
We'll sing as Mexico's daddy.
All right, so
Yeah.
what we were supporting now? All right, you know what? Yeah, time to cover this up now.
Let's see. Whoa.
What are we putting on right now?
He's putting on Orlando. He's a Daryl DK jersey.
Is that a DK?
Yep.
I do like
Alright.
the DK jersey. He's a guy, honestly, that is playing really well right now. He's,
Remember, Rufo, remember, FIFA allows one-time switches, okay? So, like, I'm recruiting you here, man. Like, listen, we need some more USMNT fans in this country that are passionate and know the game, you know? So, like, that's my recruiting pitch to you, right? Like,
there you go.
All I can just say though,
you know what's funny?
Go ahead.
You know what's funny about the dual nat thing, right? You were talking about Araujo before, and I think it's going to become, in a lot of cases, I think it's going to become which team has more opportunity for me. Like, and I think that for both Araujo and Pepe, I think that was it. I think Julian Araujo looked at Mexico's outside backs and goes, I can pass those dudes at some point soon, right? And I think Pepe did the same. He's like, I'm looking at the US nines, like I can get in there, you know, ASAP.
They want to play. They want to play.
I play, man.
I think they have a love for generally, like, right, a dual nat. You feel it in your blood for both nations typically, and I think it's whoever's going to give you the call up and whoever's going to. And I do feel like Pepe, regardless of the situation, would have most likely suited up for the U.S. based off of his comments. But any other player, like other players that are dual nats, it's up to, like Rufo said, it's up to them. It's really no hard feelings. You got to follow your heart. But USA, Mexico, Canada, Panama, Costa Rica, Jamaica, El Salvador, Honduras, USA's at the top right now. 14 points.
Brian, you know what pains me here? You know what and I don't mean to like go backwards on a beautiful night.
Yeah.
But I have to say it because it's what's in my heart, right? Like that Panama result. Like if you go down there and just even if you get a point, this is a totally different table. And if you go down there and get 3, it's wrapped and done. You have 17 points and fourth place has 8.
I know.
Like,
I know. It's like
anyway, we're in a great spot though. It's becoming a 4-team race. That's what you're noticing here, right? Is like very quickly becoming a 4-team race. For us, it's going to be just staying out of that 4th spot, right? It's just like take care of business against Jamaica, you know, game by game here, but like stay out of that 4th spot. It seems like what are we 8 points clear halfway through of
you don't want that 4th spot because anything can happen in one.
Common Bowl now, right? We're not playing the you know whatever New Zealand or whoever.
That's true. That's true, and that's the thing, right? Jamaica too. I will say something about Jamaica before the match because we'll preview that on State of Soccer here. So guys, subscribe if you want a good preview of that coming up. Jamaica in Kingston is going to be tough, in particular with the players they have back: Mikel Antonio, Leon Bailey. A couple USL guys sprinkled in, of course, but other than that, backlines experience, Andre Blake and goal, a team that's tough to beat on home soil, and a team that's hot right now. You know, so let's see what type of team that Jamaica throws out there against the US in Jamaica. But I think after tonight's match, 2-0 victory, I don't see the US dropping a match against Jamaica on the road. I think they're going to come up with 3 points. I think they'll have 17 points out after this 8th match played in the octagonal.
I think, you know, this sport is so much is won and lost in the midfield. You know, like, and I think what we're seeing develop right now for the USA in these last 2 windows is we're really, I can confidently say, we might have this is the best midfield in the region. You know, like to me, it's us or Mexico for best midfield in the region. I think Canada's midfield is good. I think it's a notch below.
Yeah,
and I just saw our midfield outplay Mexico's midfield tonight. Right?
Wait, Adam, what do you when Rania comes back? You know, a lot of people want to see Rania at the 8.
Yeah,
I know. Where are we going to slot him in? I mean, is Aronson the man out? Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't. It just becomes Pulisic, Reina, the MMA midfield. I know a lot of people will argue for Musa on the bench and Reina in, but I mean, and so, obviously if you did that, then you could start either Aronson or you could start Weah, like you did tonight, and put Reyna in the midfield. I'm okay with that, to be honest. Listen, we have 3-game windows coming up, right? There's plenty of room to mix and match, right? There's times we need a sub and bring a super sub on. So, hey, let's bring Weah on. But instead of bringing Weah on for Reyna, bring Weah on for Musa and bump Reyna to the midfield, right? So there's flexibility here. I don't think it's like an absolute. But for me, like with our identity, who we're trying to be, like I want the MMA midfield. And I want the MMA midfield to boss physically and do what they do. I want Reyna in one half space. I want Pooley in the other half space. I want them getting outlets and playmaking in those half spaces, right? And then, hey, let's bring Aronson and Weah on as super subs when teams are tired, and now you got to face a fresh Aronson and Weah in the last 30 minutes, and
it's pretty amazing, and you get
pretty fun.
Also, there's depth at these winger positions too, especially that right wing position. Alex Mighton too, recently committing to the USMNT, is another guy playing for Nottingham Forest, 19 years old, dual English US international, playing every match.
Conrad developing, right?
There you go.
Conrad could take a jump in the next 6 months, right? I don't know if he's ready right now, but he could do what
playing pretty good for
last
Marseille.
year.
He is playing relatively well.
Marseille.
Yeah,
you're right.
Very good.
Really good player, man. But this table makes me so happy. USA on top makes me so happy here. We've got to back it up now, and I think, I know we're kind of getting close to time here, Brian, but I think the thing that does worry me, right, is what's the drop off from McKennie to Busio, and are we able to boss the midfield against Jamaica in the same way? I think we should be able to. Jamaica's midfield is really weak.
No, that's where they're weak. That's where they're weakest. We got
so weak. And so like boss the midfield, even with Busio. And like for Busio, like this is your chance, man, right? Like have a coming out party, like prove just like Aronson has and Weah have and all these guys have, prove you belong, right? Like go out and have a big game.
Let's do it. And that's the thing. USA, Jamaica, this is the World Cup qualifying window. We have Jamaica versus USA, that Bosnia-Herzegovina match against the US, which will be out in LA, I believe, on December 18th. That'll be most likely a domestic MLS-based camp, probably. But we might see some interesting players included there. We have El Salvador home, Canada in Vancouver, it's looking like, out in the Pacific Northwest, right across the border in Canada. We have Honduras home. We have Mexico away, Panama home, and then Costa Rica away. That'll wind out in March 30th of 2022. So right now, the U.S. standing-wise, we're standing right now with, I think it was 14 points. 14 points in the octagonal.
There's 7 games to go, and boys and girls, tighten your seatbelts right freaking now, because all I can just say is there's going to be a lot of action these next couple of months, especially with these international breaks. Definitely.
I just want to shout this out. Mexico goes to Canada next game.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Like somebody, either 2 or 3 are dropping points, or both if they draw, right? Or dropping points if we can get a dub. Yeah. Panama goes to Costa Rica, which is 4 versus 5. And we all know Costa Rica is probably maybe the toughest place to play in the region. That's a huge one, right? Panama could drop points there. So this next game could be massive in terms of like not locking us in fully, but getting us to a place where it's like, wow, we're heading out of this window in a really comfortable spot. If, Costa Rica can take care of business and, whoever, like Mexico, Canada, doesn't really matter. One of them hurts each other, right?
If the U.S. can walk into Canada with 20 points, because they have Jamaica and El Salvador, they can walk into Canada with 20 points, I think you pretty much essentially qualify. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what you get down to. That's what I think. And Mexico let's look at Mexico real quick, and then we'll wind the show down. And, I'm really intrigued by this Canadian team. But Mexico has Canada away, like you said. That's going to be extremely tough. Friendly against Chile. It's a friendly yet. Jamaica, Costa Rica, Jamaica on the road, Costa Rica at home. It looks like Panama home. They have on the back end, they have 3 home matches in a row, and then they're away at Honduras, which they should win, and then El Salvador at home. So Mexico, if they can get results here against Canada, that's a huge, huge match for them. And then essentially they're the back end for Mexico. They're essentially home the majority of their matches. So they have a pretty good schedule there. Kind of flops like the U.S. The U.S. looks like they're more on the road. But guys, I don't know about you. I'm exhausted.
2-0, baby. 2-0.
Oh, shit.
Sorry,
Don't
Rufo.
remind me, mate.
2-0. It's back.
All I can just say this before we log off here. Tamale Killer just said if the U.S. did have 2 or 3 more points, I think Triple G could actually experiment a little bit with guys that he's never tried out before. Like, with the likes of like Scally or anybody he actually came up and just said, you know what, I'm
Conrad,
calling
yeah.
you up this time.
It's possible.
2-0, the next time we get a chance to go 2-0 at home, I think is 8 years from now, by the way.
Say that again. It's in 8. You're right. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
We won't have a home World Cup qualifier against Mexico in 2025. It's going to be whatever 2029, the 2030 cycle, which is insanity, right? But
That's insanity.
The home 2-0 is like, it's kind of, you guys have to hear it for the next 8 years, my guy.
No.
There's no chance to avenge it until 2029.
Sakes.
This is actually a good point. The crowd will turn on El Tri. Being home is not that great. So Guillermo Alanis is saying that even if El Tri is home and they're not playing well, Estadio Azteca is going to turn on them and they'll make them hear it.
Yep. They're
very possible.
They're gonna very hear it.
That's I appreciate the Guillermo.
Can't wait to get down to the Azteca, baby. I've been hungry for that one since that 1-1 draw, the Michael Bradley long ball.
Yeah,
I've been hungry to get it done.
Well, guys, you can see we're obviously really pumped up. Adam, Rufo, thanks for joining me tonight. I appreciate it, guys.
Fun, man. Thanks for having me, Brian. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Everyone, take care. We're gonna play the our famous State of Soccer image. And that does it, guys. Excuse me. I'm so tired. It's the end of the night. I'm like relieved. I'm happy. There's so many emotions right now. I'm going to bed is what I'm going to do. But I advise you guys to do the same. If anyone's out there still up, turn your phone off. The score line's not going to change. No, it's not a dream. Go back to bed. USA is 1-0. Good night, guys. From State of Soccer, from Rufo, from Adam, aka USMNT Stan. Support your local club as always. That's number one. Grow the game in America and go USMNT. Take care.